Welcome. This is Mark, and this is Mark's Wiki. And today we're looking at a new feature in a new Octane release and how we can use our agents to implement some changes. So I use Octane Framework, and recently there is a new release, and there was one feature that was kind of uh, buried in the other section that said now we can use page directives. He calls them attributes, but I think they're actually directives. Page directives. And what this does is this will magically make pages for your Octane modules, which cuts down one kind of manual piece along the way. So what I want to do, so this is a new feature in a new um, release, and so we haven't run into it before. So one of the things I can do is I can go over here and I can talk to Claude Code, and I can say, um, I can give it a little bit of context. I can say, hey, there was this new release. I can say, I'd like to implement the new page directives in my modules based on the new release. Yeah, one page for each module. And I can give it a hint. It might pick this up on it on its own. Let's see if it, uh, based on the new Octane release, I'd like to implement the new at page directive. Sorry, I'm having a hard time spelling. Implement the new page directive. I'd like to implement the new page directive of my modules using the Octane release. And here's the Octane release, one page for each module. And I'm thinking that it's going to be able to pick some up from this because I have a skill over here in my repo that it's pointing at. It's pointing at the 10 trees repo. And it's all about telling it how to, it's got a skill. It's got a skill called Octane Module Development. And basically it says, hey, these are the general outlines of what uh, Octane modules look like. And also go set yourself up for success by doing a clone of the Octane latest Octane framework, and then don't pull it, but don't track it. And then it's got some other basic stuff about Octane uh, and some links. So let's see if it's able to do that. I'm just going to set this off on its own adventure. And then while Claude is busy doing its thing, we can go do some completely other activity. For example, I know that we just had a meeting with the customer, and I want to make sure that the changes, any changes we talked about in that meeting, are reflected in the specification. So this is the solution view. We're just looking at code, but there is another view of this repo. If you just look at the raw folder structure, you can see a little bit more stuff here. And one of the things that you can see is we've got a specs folder that has features in it, as well as a documentation folder. And I know that we just did a 10 trees March check-in. Yeah, here it is. And what we have in the March check-in is it was a Zoom call, and so we have the Zoom summary, and then we've included the full transcript of the meeting. And so in this case, what I'd like, I've got Claude code running over here. It's running on the Sonnet 4.6 model. I'm going to use Copilot chat in agent mode on the same Claude Sonnet model. And this time I'm going to hit Win H to get my transcriber starting. Review the latest March check-in transcript and meeting summary and compare that against the existing feature files and make a plan to implement any changes. That's just me being lazy with the typing. Poor Claude over here could not get to that blog post. Maybe Anthropic's getting throttled by people in the world. So it says, let me look at the module. Let me look at the module files. It's gonna, and so it picked up on that skill, probably from the word octane, and now it's gonna go do some stuff. Meanwhile, in Copilot GitHub, this one was able to find the existing feature files. Very nice. It's reading a bunch of them. And then hopefully, because I've gave it the context of the active document. And so I'm looking at this MD file here, and that's the results of the meeting. And it should be able to do that. Yeah, skills are kind of fun if you haven't played around with them. I've got a repo that has a few skills that are fun. If you go to GitHub, github.com/Mark Davis slash, I think it's Mark's dash skills. Yeah, they're pretty straightforward. I've got an accessibility and validation skill that's quite nice. Goes through all of your Blazor and Bootstrap and makes sure that it's got all the accessibility stuff going on. There's a Kanban skill that's a lot of fun. This guy will basically, it will make a Kanban folder for you and keep track of things to do in the file system, which is a little weird, but it works really nicely because the AI, it works a lot more quickly with local files it knows about and less. So I've had a hard time using the MCPs to get to my various Kanban boards was just really slow, and so I've taken to just doing it right there in the repo when I'm working primarily with the agents. Okay, let's see what this has come up with. It's done a gap analysis from the March check-in. Cohort management, trees, mentors. Here's the gaps identified. And it went ahead and made some changes to the features. This is interesting. It went all the way back to the project plan and updated that as well. So I can look at some of these features if we want to. Open question, where the educator has a role. That's interesting. Platform admin versus program admin. Yeah, there we go. So these feature files are BDD, behavior driven design feature files. So it has the feature as like a use case, user story, then individual scenarios, and it uses the Gherkin given when then language to make that go. So there wasn't too many updates from that. And then we could just be done here and call it good. So let me go look at the changes. There's only one updated. What was already covered required no changes. Okay, that's fine. Pretty meager. So if I wanted to make a change here, I could tell it, go ahead and push a branch. I'm not going to bother. There's no reason to get uh, lost in the weeds here. I'm just gonna go get a commit message, and then accept this commit all. I'm just gonna push right in the main like a crazy man. Okay, so meanwhile, what happened with Claude Code? Analyze the thing. I now understand the feature. Page route support. Yes, good. Understand the feature. I got page route support. Add a page directive to all 5 indexes. The page directives in the modules. That looks right. That looks right. Ooh, well, hello. Yeah, that all looks good. That's what I would have done too. How it works. Thanks for that. PR. It even found the PR. That does it. And so this guy, I can just create this PR here. Looks pretty good. And so there's one pending review. What I usually do is when I have Claude uh, pushing a PR, I will have Copilot do the review on it and see what's up. This is super trivial, right? I don't think it's going to have much to say about this. So in this case, I'm not going to bother having it do the review. But this is a good, if it was more substantial change to the code, then I would do that. So let's go ahead and merge the pull request. And that's good. This guy will come in eventually. I can fetch, pull, take a look, switch back over to solution mode, go take a look at these client modules, like the assessment index, and there it is. There's the assessment directive, probably just like I would have done it. Not a whole lot of work there. Didn't really save much time using the bots, but what I'm hoping to see now when I launch this app is that at the top of the screen, there's going to be pages for each of my modules, and that the page loads. In a new empty blank database, I don't know how much those modules are really going to load, uh, but at least we can kind of see it come up one time, just so we feel good about the work that was done there. So this is a good way to kind of, you can work two you can work two agents kind of at the same time. You work them in different tasks, and then you can also work them kind of in concert. So have one check another's work, that sort of thing. This is not the full blown, vibe coding experience where people fan out, a bunch of agents and have them burn a bunch of tokens and like magically create software. This is more like just using them as tools in the tools you're already using without relying so much on the new hotness. And there it is. Hey, look at that. And so we got pages showed up for each one of these, which is nice. That saved me some clicking. Because typically in Octane you would have to go in and add pages and do that sort of thing. And now I don't have to do that. And I could, like if I go into village, the village is there. I can add a village, maybe. Village name Sherwood. Contact name Mark. Contact phone. Not today. Save it. Ta-da! Looking pretty good. I'm going to call that a wrap. That is pretty happy with that. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time.